All right, let's talk about the brilliant new documentary on Barcelona's Guardiola years. Take the ball, pass the ball. There's a screening this Sunday in the Liberty Hall in Dublin at 6 o'clock. We'll tweet the link to get tickets. And the man behind it is Graham Hunter, and he joins us on the line to talk to us this morning. Graham, what are you hearing about the Republic of Ireland job?
Do you mean how they offered it to me?
Yeah. Do you want it?
Yeah, listen, I take it. We'd have fun. Believe me, we'd have fun. You'd have to change the lyrics of You'll Never Beat the Irish, because I think every now and again we might get beaten. But hey, look, I'm up for it. I know it's in your power, lads. I think you were just hinting about Sam Allardyce a minute ago. Don't give it to him. Please don't give it to him. There's a real beaut. Archie Gemmell's boy, Scott Gemmell, would be a really left field appointment, but he'd be a brilliant appointment. Obviously, I say us. From here in Spain, we exiled Scots are kind of happy, not just to have got that 2020 playoff spot guaranteed, but the manner of, I mean, one of the things I've been listening to, apart from last night, excellent about the way in which the Irish FA needs to rethink, rejig, Delaney's under the spotlight. Fantastic programming last night. And I know about you that man is listened to, probably even appointed, I don't know. But like the manner of Ireland's displays recently, I guess it isn't simply the results. And suddenly the disconnect that I've been hearing you talk about between Ireland, the setup, the management team, the players and the fans. Whereas if there was a nation around the world that above and beyond punching sort of over your weight, the recent win against Germany with a management team that have just departed, and you know, a big performance at the Euros. If there was a team around the world that had a 13th man, it was Ireland, obviously. Aside from all the other things that over the last decade, 2 decades that you've achieved. And therefore, one of the things I'd like to see whoever gets that job is that the connect comes back between the type of coach, the man, the squad and the fans.
Yeah.
Because watching from a distance, that's been part of the value for anybody who's not Irish who's been watching your team.
100%, and that's one of the points that Damien Duff made as well, that the team has become background noise as opposed to something that's absolutely centred in Irish football fans' lives. We're just having a bit of an issue with your screen, so what we'll do is we'll fix that while we play everybody here the trailer for Take the Ball, Pass the Ball. This will whet your appetite and we'll talk about it right after this.
If you tell me that you love football and you don't love Barcelona, you have a problem.
2011 was the best round of football I've seen.
Yo entiendo fútbol así. Once we got that first victory, there was no stopping us.
Que fue un poco el comienzo de todo.
Everyone knew that this guy is going to be the best in the world. And there was no doubt about it.
Solo con la noticia de que Guardiola va a entrenar al primer equipo, yo ya estoy sintiendo algo de que vamos a ir bien. Él fue innovador en una forma de jugar.
Take the ball, pass the ball, take the ball, pass the ball.
Pep says, I will bring you to the final of the Champions League, and it was like this.
I'm not sure, Owen, that we appreciated them while we had them.
That's the same with everything, really. Is it a lesson that we should be kind of taking a deeper appreciation of what we're looking at now? Is there a lesson in that with how we view the Irish team over the last couple of years?
The football team.
That when you're sitting in Lille enjoying the afterglow of Robbie Brady's goal, that you're like, this is joy. Appreciated as it is right now.
Yeah, that's
on every level. Doesn't necessarily need to look like that, because I don't think we'll ever look like that.
Maybe that should be the thing that we aspire to. Graham, first off, congratulations on the documentary. Irish fans are going to get an opportunity to see it this Sunday in Liberty Hall. What's the response been like? Because I haven't talked to you really since the first trailer went live that day.
Yeah, you've been kind of at the whole project. Look, it's usual that I'm on here talking my nonsense about things that I'm observing. So to be a participant and talking to you feels a little bit embarrassing. I'm not a great one for bigging myself up unless I'm joking. But what I will honestly tell you is that it's been overwhelming what people have said about the movie. It's done well in cinemas in the UK and Spain. I was determined, the director Duncan McMath was also determined that Ireland should have a premiere. It's only in Dublin, I'm sorry, to the rest of the country. The feedback's been marvellous. People have talked about lots of different things. And I'll give you maybe 3 areas that I really enjoy. One, nostalgia is beautiful. Normally it takes a long time for people to be nostalgic, and to feel the level of nostalgia from neutral fans, because this is, I would argue at its core, a Barca film. If people are affectionate towards that Barca era or Xavi or Iniesta, there's liberal doses of what they'll want. To me, this is an homage to the way that football can be played, the way in which football can lift you out of your seat, surprise you, make you laugh, make you have the experience of your lifetime if you're a neutral. That's genuinely what we wanted to achieve for this film. The feedback from people saying, I remember once during the Pep era, I saved up my money, took a Ryanair flight, went to the Camp Nou, and it was the best football night of my life. Or even United fans saying to us, having watched this, yeah, I'll watch that again, despite the pain of Rome and Wembley, particularly pain Rome, but Wembley awe. People find a value in watching it. And the second thing that I've really liked is that over and over again in feedback from around the world now, because people around the world have been watching this, is they appreciate that we've asked questions that we know will get an honest, critical answer. So, for example, in the film, Abidal is very critical of Pep Guardiola in their first meetings and admits that he was ready to walk out on the club. Dani Alves goes in a trajectory during the film from saying, well, when I first met Pep and was coached by him, if he told me to jump off the roof of the Camp Nou, I'd have done it because I believed there was a purpose, a reason. And by season 4, he admits that if Pep told me to jump off the roof of the Camp Nou, I'd have taken the stairs and run down as quickly as possible. Eto'o criticises him, not in a brutal way, but in a way in which I think tries hard, and people tell me we've succeeded in not making this a hagiography. It's not sweetness and light everywhere. It's not everything's beautiful. We have Victor Valdez saying the first time Pep briefed me on how he wanted to play, I thought he was mad. So I asked him to repeat it, and even listening to it again, I thought he was talking Chinese. So there are phases in there that celebrate the beauty. There are phases that try to explain how it happened. We let the personalities talk as honestly as we could push them to. I think you see it in their facial expressions, in their laughter, how they relax, how they tell their own stories. Everybody's in there, Messi, Pep, Xavi, Iniesta, Piqué. We enjoyed making it. It was hard. We went into debt to make it. It's a typical story of having to fight hard to make our project. We enjoyed it overall. I think it's been worth it. And in Liberty Hall, Sunday night from 6, Duncan and I and you will be talking about the show beforehand. The film on, it's the first time, maybe, I don't know, the only time it'll be on in cinemas in Ireland. And I'm really proud. It's the most educated sporting audience I've ever come across. And I'd say up there with Australia as being the most adept, most wide-ranging, most challenging sports audience I've ever encountered in my travels around the world. So Take the Ball should be shown in Ireland.
I don't want to waste all my good questions, but having done all this work and revisited the book for the film afterwards, do you have a better idea now why Pep walked away when he did?
I have a clearer idea that he should have walked away earlier. Part of how we define greatness, I listen to all of you on Off the Ball so often. I think I'm preaching to the converted chair. Part of how we define true greatness is a judgment about when to walk away, temporarily for refreshing your mental and physical capacities, or finally greatness can be defined when somebody says, that's it for me, I'm ready to stop now. And Pep missed that beat by a year. Who can criticise him? Not me. But in the film and in the book, we talk about the fact that Johan Cruyff, in the lead up to the Wembley final against Manchester United, says, it wouldn't surprise me, and I think it's time for Pep to walk away, to leave Barcelona, to stop and just to hit the restart button. Pep didn't do that. The 4th year was tough. It's interesting, only last night Pep was saying, all right, maybe with his tongue in his cheek a little bit, about how much he's enjoying the English media right now. And I tweeted a couple of weeks ago that during the year and a half or a couple of years that he's been in Manchester, I've seen him talk about football in press conferences more often than I ever did at Barcelona. And therefore, Chair, what I'm building to say is that by that 4th year, and the players tell this tale, he was burned out, he was angry, he'd lost his feeling with the president of the club, he felt he didn't have allies. The Chelsea defeat was one of those spectacular nights where strange things happen, particularly if you look back at the first leg at Stamford Bridge where Barcelona played genuinely brilliantly and should have won about 5-1 and didn't. And by the time he walked away, it was done in a bad manner. It was replaced in a bad manner. The players felt upset about how he'd been treated, but some of them also felt upset with him. Dani Alves talks about rowing with them all the time in year 4. He just mistimed it, and that idea came through into his decision about when to leave Bayern Munich. And eventually, certainly not now, eventually it will guide him about when to leave Manchester City, because I don't think he's not a man to make that same mistake twice, Ger.
No, I was just about to ask. It seems like he's very conscious of that idea of how to cement his own legacy as a complete great of the game. And you do wonder if that'll be the same when it comes to his overall value of his career, that not only will he know when to leave Manchester City when that right time comes, but also when the right time is to leave management entirely. And, you know, he's approaching the level of greatness pretty soon. So I'm not sure it's that idea of him calling it quits as a manager going to arrive pretty soon as well.
Energy would be one of the big answers to your question, because he takes positive energy from pupils who listen and respond. So you both will know now that City will play a great game, and that we'll all appreciate, that will win them a big victory. They might score 3 or 4, and it's quite feasible that Pep comes away from that experience furious with himself, remonstrating with himself, disappointed about his level of preparation, albeit that it's fanatically meticulous by everybody else's standards. So when he's getting the positive energy of noticing that he's on his game and that the players are responding and applying, and that you pick a youth team player or a senior player, whichever brand of City footballer you want, if those players are improving and telling him that everything is still vital, those elements will be far more important to him than whether he did or didn't win the Champions League that season, in terms of staying, going, stopping. And you're right, in due course, again at Liverpool University last night, he charted out that one day he does want to be a national team coach. And in normal circumstances, that might be Brazil is something that he would actively rush to try and get that job. Spain, possibly so. England, don't rule it out, with the way in which the kids that came through and won the 2 World Cups and the European Championships over the last 18 months. Don't rule that out either. In due course, he'll be a national team coach. You know the difference in energy outlay when you're a national team coach, particularly if it's going well. You've got greater time to think and to plan. That will sustain him for a long time. And in due course, again, I'm absolutely certain he'll head the Barcelona Academy in terms of reinstalling what is now lost, corroded and very nearly gone, the Cruyff ideals around the Camp Nou, in terms of how they pick up kids from 10, 11, 12 and how they train them, and what type of footballers that academy will turn out in due course. And that's a long, long way now for the time release of those who want to see more Xavis and Iniestas and Messis coming through Barca's ranks. But one day he'll do that, and that will be one of his greatest passions. He has never lost that joy of seeing younger kids being taught the values that made him a great footballer and now a great coach. And he will want to be that type of professor in due course.
Graham, great stuff. We'll see you on Sunday. Thanks a million.
Looking forward.
It's Graham Hunter there talking about his new documentary, which is screening in Liberty Hall in Dublin on Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. There's a promo code. The code is off the ball. There you go. See what we did there? We used the name of the show as the promo code. It's pretty easy.
Right, okay, that makes sense now. It took me a while to come to the understanding.
Yeah, so the promo code is off the ball. Get you 10% discount, and it is on Eventbrite. Is it Eventbrite? It is Eventbrite.ie. Yeah.